This week, the Impact leaders met to figure out what is different about this lockdown and the one that we had back in March. We worked out that most of you guys are not at school, but this time around, you've got lots of schoolwork to do. You're spending pretty much all of your day online learning. For some of you, you are in school and that just looks completely different to the way that it used to. Like the first lockdown, right now you're not allowed to go and see your friends. And I guess that the novelty of all this being online is sort of wearing off a little bit. Online Impact in the first lockdown was a special thing. It brought us all together and really helped us get through that tough time. We Impact leaders all believe that no matter what comes, there is a hope in the Bible, a hope in the gospel that nothing can take away. And so we took all that information and we brought it all down and realised that now is the time to bring back Online Impact, bigger and better than ever before. And I'm fully aware that some of you guys weren't part of Online Impact last April time. I'm going to explain to you everything you need to know about this version of Online Impact, because it's going to be a little bit different to what it was the first time around. We've got to start properly, don't we? Yes, Impactors. Welcome to Online Impact. Online Impact back in the first lockdown always began with the challenge of the week. I've decided that this time around, we're not going to run the challenge of the week. And let me tell you why. During the first lockdown, you guys had a lot of free time because school wasn't being done in the same way that it is now. You had the time to go and bake or learn a new skill, whereas now that isn't even an option for you guys. Instead, next week, something new is coming. The Challenge Master will be making their first appearance at Online Impact next week on Zoom. And all I've been told is that next week when you log onto Zoom, make sure you're ready for the Challenge Master. Okay, moving on. After that in the chat, I'm going to send a link to a YouTube video just like this one, where we'll be looking at the Bible. And today we're starting a brand new series called The Upside Down Kingdom, looking at Matthew chapter 5 verses 1 to 11 in small little verses. And then we'll round off Online Impact with discussion groups. Now these discussion groups will be smaller than usual, and that's because I want everyone to feel part of it. Each group will be thinking about the Bible passage in a different way that best suits the people in that group. And finally, some information on Tuesday nights. During the first lockdown, we ran the Tuesday night social from 7:30 till 8:30. The point of that Tuesday night social was to kind of bring everyone together at a time when they couldn't meet up. And so we will be bringing back the Tuesday night social starting next Tuesday. What I want to do this time around is I want you to be able to choose which social you go to. Each of the different leaders are going to have their own little social room, and you can choose which one you want to attend. Some of those groups will be open for everybody, others will have limited amount of spaces. So there'll be lots of variety on that Tuesday night, but the plan is that you pick something, you stick with it for 2 weeks, and then we come back together and you can go off into a different social room with a different leader. That is all the information that I have for you right now about Online Impact and the Tuesday night social. And I hope that you're ready for this version of Online Impact. Let's together make this bigger and better than it ever has been before. We're going to get started with the Bible teaching now. We're going to turn to Matthew 5. Come and join me for the Upside Down Kingdom. Matthew 5 is Jesus' famous Sermon on the Mount, where he delivers the Beatitudes. The word beatitude kind of comes back from the word blessed, which if you've looked at the Beatitudes, Matthew 5 verse 3 to 11, you'll see the word blessed, 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 blessed repeated again and again and again. All of it is Jesus talking about his kingdom and what his kingdom is like. It's an upside down kingdom that really catches us off guard because it's so different to the way that the world works right now. And so over the next few weeks, we're going to work through each of these Beatitudes just one by one and see what Jesus has to say about his kingdom. So we start this week with verse 3. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. It's really important that we understand what this word blessed means before we continue on through this series, because it's a word that we really need to understand. You might have heard it described as being happy. You might have heard it being used to bless God, and that God blesses us. Blessed in Matthew 5, when we're reading it, we should be thinking about God's approval. Now, Matthew 5 verse 3 says, God gives a big thumbs up, he approves of. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. So who are the poor in spirit? Well, first of all, it's not the people who are simply skint. Skint is another word for poor. You've got absolutely no money. Instead, when Jesus is talking about people who are poor in spirit, he's talking about people who are spiritually skint. They know that there is absolutely nothing that they can offer to God. You are completely dependent on him because there's absolutely nothing that you can give to him. If he went into your wallet to find out something, it'd be completely empty. You would be spiritually skint. And one characteristic of people who are spiritually skint is they realise they've got nothing to give, and so don't even try. I think the best glimpse that we get at the spiritually skint people is when we look at the followers of Jesus. What were they like? We had lepers, we had prostitutes, we had cripples and blind people all following him around. These were people that probably didn't go into the temple to worship. These were people who didn't have anything to give. These are people who were probably banned from places like that. They knew, and everyone else knew, that there was nothing that they could give to get close to God. Yet here was Jesus welcoming those people in. If you rock up to the kingdom and think that your wallet is packed full of stuff that Jesus is going to be happy with, lots of good works that are going to atone for all the bad, then I'm afraid you're going to come up empty. You weren't poor in spirit. You weren't humble. You didn't realise, I've got nothing that I can give to you, God. That is what it means to be poor in spirit, spiritually skint. And what do those who are spiritually skint receive? Well, verse 3 says, theirs is the kingdom of heaven. A fresh new start. Jesus as their king forever. Jesus' kingdom, theirs forever. That kingdom, Jesus' kingship, is something they get a taste of right now. But when Jesus comes again, that's when they'll see it crystal clear. That's when they'll feel it more than ever. So what does it mean for Jesus to be the king? Why is it good news to be spiritually skint and for Jesus to be ruling and reigning right now in your life? As I was thinking about this for myself, the big thing that jumps out for me is that I have such comfort knowing that Jesus is looking over me, watching over me, caring for my soul at all times. It means that when I want to fight to try and control things that I can't control, that I have somewhere to go to just kind of let all that loose, to stop trying to pretend that I've got control over my own future, my own destiny, to change some big circumstances. It is good news that Jesus reigns over my life now because I know that he is taking care of me. And that is a great comfort to me as a person during difficult times. I think one of the hard things with life is trying to convey to someone, communicate to someone who cares about you, maybe a parent, maybe a family member, and trying to explain to them what you're going through. Sometimes it can be really difficult. You know that they love you, you know that they're there for you, but they just can't quite get what the problem is. They just can't quite get how you're feeling. And so when we feel things like rejection, when we feel loneliness, when we feel just utterly heartbroken and maybe can't even explain why, Jesus is a king who knows what that feels like, who understands and who draws close to us. There is no one else that exists in this world who can really understand what you're going through. But Jesus can. He's a king who's always there, whose plan never fails, and his plan is to give spiritually skint people the kingdom of heaven, and it will be theirs forever. But that's where this upside down kingdom is confusing, because in our world, you work hard to earn the right at getting something. So if you want to be a scientist when you're older, then you work hard at school to try and get to that job. If you want to be able to play a musical instrument or pick up a new skill, you have to work hard in order to be able to earn that. How can you enter the kingdom of heaven with absolutely nothing to offer God? Well, that's where the king comes into play. So when Jesus goes to the cross, he is not spiritually skint. He has all approval from God. He is the blessed one. Yet he decides to empty all of that out into your account, so that where you were spiritually skint, you now have all the riches of Christ. The spiritually skint get the kingdom of heaven because Jesus has paid the price for them to enter. My wallet's empty, Jesus. I've got nothing I can offer you. I need you, Jesus, to cover my entry fee. And when you realise that, when you say those words, you are poor in spirit. You are spiritually skint. But the kingdom of heaven is yours. Thanks for watching Online Impact this week. I hope that it's been helpful to you. I'm going to head you back over to Zoom now so that you can go and answer that question that will be there for you, and we'll have discussion groups. Tune in to the Tuesday night social and pick where you want to go. I'm sure that's going to be a great time. And then next Friday, be prepared for the Challenge Master and the continuation of the Upside Down Kingdom. I'll see you over on Zoom, guys. Thanks for watching.